Moaning and coughing, Anna's eyes begin to open, and all she hears are sirens and sees the pavement and a puddle of blood underneath her. Unable to move, she can see red and blue lights flashing as a hand next to her face takes blood samples off the pavement. Anna, being in extreme pain and fading in and out of consciousness, thinks to herself, "Where is Aluka? Where are the angels? Did I imagine everything? Was I having a nightmare?" Anna moans Aluka's name as she feels hands lift her up and put her on a gurney. In her blurred and bloody vision, she can clearly make out an ambulance a few meters away. She also notices the weather is warm and nothing appears frozen. A loud and sharp buzzing noise pierces Anna's ears, broken suddenly by a male's voice saying, "Try and stay awake from me." Anna looks to her side and sees a human male pushing her gurney. Anna begins to sob, unable to fully talk. She can only think to herself, it was all a dream. I don't know how I got here tonight, but the voices and people she sees are clearly human, and the air is warm. Everything had to have been some type of nightmare or hallucination. Anna, still in pain, begins to breathe a sigh of relief. Feeling tired and injured, she just lays on the gurney and listens to the sound of the ambulance engine and the occasional voices over the paramedic radios. Anna slightly raises her head and looks out the back window. As the ambulance drives down the road, she can see lights, traffic, and houses. She also can see the moon bright and clear in the sky. Gone are the dark and gloomy clouds of death. Even in pain, Anna begins to smile, thinking to herself it was definitely a dream. Brought back to life 500 years in the future, no humans, and everyone is part animal, part human. That's ridiculous, she thinks to herself. Anna, whose face is covered in blood, begins to laugh and cough at the same time, thinking how absurd that sounds. What a crazy dream I must have had. Anna now begins to think about her parents and also wonders maybe there was an accident when her mom and dad were driving her to one of her many hospital visits. Maybe that is why I awoke on the pavement. Excuse me, doctor, whispers Anna. Where are my parents? Was there some sort of accident? The male doctor responds, "Don't worry, everything is going to be fine. I just need you to stay awake. We are almost at the hospital." The doctor then touches Anna's hand before he walks to the front of the ambulance. He sits down in the passenger seat and begins to write on a clipboard. Anna, still feeling so much relief that everything was just a dream, falls in and out of consciousness while looking at the road out the back window. While laying down, she begins to turn her head, looking around the ambulance. Her heart begins to pound when she looks to her right and sees another gurney. This one obviously has a body on top of it, covered with a sheet. Tears begin to roll down Anna's face as she thinks to herself, "Mom." It must have been a car accident, she thinks to herself. Anna struggles to speak, quietly saying, "Mom, Mom." She uses all of her strength, stretching out her hand, attempting to pull the sheet off of this mysterious body that she suspects of being her mom. She grabs hold of the sheet, but being so weak, she only manages to pull it slightly down over the head, revealing only a small portion of gray hair. Anna swallows and keeps crying, remembering her mother's gray hair. Anna's hand falls to her side, breathing heavily and having very little strength. She once again grabs onto the sheet. This time grabbing a larger piece, Anna uses all of her strength and pulls the sheet completely off of this mysterious body. In slow motion, Anna can see the sheet slide off this body, revealing the gray hair on the back of the head, followed by what looks to be a big blanket made of feathers. Suddenly, the feather blanket unrolls, spreading across the room, pushing Anna's gurney up against the wall. She can now tell this is a wing. The force of the wing spreading out, causing the body to turn over, Anna can see this is the same angel-like woman that was carrying her through the sky. The angel's face bloody and disfigured, and with the giant gap in her chest. "No, no, no," says Anna, tears pouring down her face as she passes out. The sound of medical equipment waking her up, Anna slowly opens her eyes and sits up in bed. She sees two men sitting on each side of her bed as the nurse walks out of the room. "Hello, my name is Nigel," says the man on the right side of the bed. "Hello," says Anna. She looks at the man on the left, who simply smiles at her and says, "Mark," indicating that's his name. Nigel then offers Anna some water as he puts a bottle on the nightstand next to her bed. Anna noticed Nigel appears very tall, even sitting down. She looks at his thin face and sunken-in eyes and thinks to herself, this guy looks strange. Nigel clears his throat as he opens a small notebook. He looks at Anna and asks, "What's your name?" "My name is Anna." "And where are you from?" "Massachusetts," replies Anna. Both of the men look at each other with confused looks on their faces. "Anna, how old are you?" Anna replies, 35. "I thought there were no more people like us. Where is Aluka?" "What can you tell me about Aluka?" says Nigel. "I'm not sure what you mean," says Anna. "Where is it headed?" says Nigel. "It," replies Anna as she shakes her head, confused. Nigel responds with the sound of irritation in his voice. "Aluka, Aluka, where was she headed?" says Nigel. Anna replies, "Home. We were headed back home. What's going on?" Nigel replies, "So how long have you been with Aluka?" Anna replies, "A few days, maybe a week, I'm not sure," says Anna as she runs her hands through her hair nervously. Nigel responds, "Well, what really doesn't make sense to me is two flying beasts carrying Aluka and you, a human, over human territory. What were you doing up there?" Anna replies, "We were leaving my house. I wanted to see the old house I grew up in." Nigel leans back in his chair, obviously annoyed. He squeezes the space between his eyes with his thumb and middle finger and lets out a deep and long sigh. He looks at Anna and says no one has lived in that area for hundreds of years. Anna replies, "No, I used to live there. Aluka brought me back to life. I was cryogenically frozen for 500 years. Mark, who has been sitting quietly on the other side of the bed until now, stands up and begins to yell. "Why the hell are we even wasting our time with her? It's obvious she's lying. She's either a spy or she's something Aluka and the rest of the gens created in a lab." "I'm not lying," says Anna, her voice shaky and on the verge of tears. "My parents were Judy and Jackson Smith. All I know is I was sick or dying in the hospital, And next thing I know, I wake up to Aluka and these other part human, part animal things bringing me back to life. They said I was cryogenically frozen for 500 years, and the whole planet is covered in clouds, and below the clouds, everything is frozen and covered in ice. Well, except for here, I guess. Nigel leans back in his chair and looks at Mark before he turns back to Anna and says, "Your story makes 0 sense. First off, 2 flying beasts flying through the skies, one carrying Aluka and the other carrying you, a human. Side by side, you're traveling to find your house?" Anna responds, "Flying beast? Oh, you mean the angels, like the one who was dead next to me in the ambulance?" "Blasphemy," yells Mark, who leaps towards Anna. "They are not angels. There is nothing angelic about those beasts." Attempting to slap Anna turns her head away right before Nigel grabs Mark's hand and yells at him to wait outside. Mark, breathing heavy with anger, exits the room, slamming the door behind him. Nigel sits back down and begins writing in his notebook before he looks up at Anna and tells her, "I can't help you if you won't tell me the truth. Are you being threatened or something?" "No," says Anna. "I am telling you the truth. You have to believe me, please." Nigel lets out another long sigh. "What were you doing with the flying beast?" Anna, confused and with tears rolling down her face, says, "I told you." "Okay," says Nigel as he stands up. He gestures for Anna to get out of bed. "Come on, let's go," says Nigel. Anna responds, "I haven't been able to use my legs since they brought me back." "Come on," says Nigel, pointing to a small camera in the corner of the ceiling. "We saw you sleepwalking last night. Come on, let's go." Anna pulls the sheet off her legs past her feet, and in her amazement, she moves her legs over the side of the bed and stands up. "I swear before I couldn't," says Anna. Okay, let's go," says Nigel. As he stands beside her, he puts handcuffs on one wrist and quickly grabs her other hand, handcuffing Anna's hands behind her back. Anna begins to shake as she asks, "What are you doing? What did I do?" "Don't worry, it's just a precaution. I'll take them off when we get to where you're going." Anna's hair, looking disheveled and caked in blood, is led down a graffiti-stained hallway. Mark joins her and Nigel as they continue to walk. Anna, scared and in a daze, can tell they are getting close to their destination as she begins to hear yelling, screaming, and the cries of people fighting grow louder and louder with each step. Nigel then stops in front of a door as he pulls keys out of his pocket. Mark yanks on Anna's handcuffs, violently pushing her against the wall, scraping skin off Anna's face. Nigel opens the door wide open, and the dozens of people inside are now quiet and slowly begin to back up as Nigel, Anna, and Mark enter the room. Mark then yells to the room of prisoners, "We got a toy for you to play with, and we found her flying through the skies with her friends, the Gens. Flying first class right next to Aluka herself." Immediately, the other prisoners begin to talk amongst themselves, followed by angry shouting directed at Anna. Anna looks at their faces and sees these bloody and bruised people have extreme hatred for her. She notices one man about 6 feet tall walk closer. She sees he is missing an arm and most of his teeth as he begins to speak. He says, "We're gonna have fun with you," as the room breaks out in laughter. A bald woman then shouts, "The Gen killed my daughter, you traitor!" Anna then looks at Nigel and begins to beg and cry. Please don't leave me here. I will tell you whatever you want. What do you want me to say? Mark then punches Anna in the stomach and she falls to the floor coughing. Don't do that, says Nigel as he stands Anna back up. Save some for the animals. He then releases Anna from her handcuffs. Maybe you'll have a more honest memory in the morning. Well, if you make it to the morning. Come on, let's go, says Nigel. As he gestures towards Mark, they both exit out the door, locking it behind them, leaving Anna in the cell with the crowd of angry prisoners.